Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Chris Malooly. We do have breaking news right now. Fort Wayne police say 2 are dead and 1 is in critical condition in a Fort Wayne hospital after a shooting at a Fort Wayne gas station. Officers are still at the scene working to figure out what happened before the shooting took place. Fox 55's Justin Prince is on the scene live at Hobson Road. Justin, what else are police able to tell you happened?
Several people are dead after a mass shooting in Boulder, Colorado today. Good evening, I'm Caleb Saylor. Thanks for joining us tonight. Chris Malooly has the night off. Police respond to an active shooter situation around 3 this afternoon at supermarket King Soopers. Officers say multiple people were killed, including a Boulder police officer. The suspect was taken into custody and is being treated for his injuries. Video shows a massive police presence at the scene and multiple ambulances. Witnesses describe what they heard while inside the store.
Boom, 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 and then by the third one, we're like, gotta get out of here. And so we just headed out, stampede. But
then all of a sudden, like, we started hearing more, like bang, 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 and I sprinted over to her and just like told her, hey, like, we need to get out of here. And I pushed open the emergency door, and I think we were the first to be out because we triggered the alarm.
Heard, one loud bang. Thought somebody just dropped something, an employee or something, and then another. And then by the third one, everybody was running. We ran to the back of the store and, found our way into the employee back of house. Some people were kind of running into the pantry. Employees were telling people, this is the exit. We went out the cargo bay and jumped underneath the loading truck that was there and ran up the back of the hill. And
police say they are unable to release the number of victims right now as they work to contact the families. New details about the man accused of killing his wife on Alvarado Drive on Friday. Fort Wayne police have charged 56-year-old David Carwile II with murder. Court documents say he shot his wife Joyce Carwile Friday morning during an argument inside their home on Alvarado Drive. A neighbor told police she heard the victim outside her door yelling for help and that her husband shot her. That same neighbor told investigators she saw David Carwile leaving with their daughter who has special needs. Officers later pulled him over and arrested him. Court documents say he was caught on camera saying, quote, "Good, I hope she dies," and, quote, "Take me downtown and lock me up." Joyce Carwile later died at the hospital. Police say they recovered a .22 caliber handgun inside their home. Carwile is expected to appear in court Thursday morning.
The Allen County Sheriff's Office needs your help finding a missing Fort Wayne man. 59-year-old Glenn Henry, right here on your screen, went missing on January 29th. Henry's family says this is uncommon for him to go days without contacting them, and they're concerned for his safety. Deputies say Henry left his home with very few items and believe he has a red 2001 Chevrolet S10. The Indiana license plate would be VSP 423. And if you have any information on Henry, you're asked to call the Allen County Sheriff's Office. Tonight, a Fort Wayne woman is in jail after police say she shot and killed her boyfriend Wednesday night. A probable cause affidavit says 26-year-old Bianca Hughes was in an argument with her boyfriend Malik Dean. The argument escalated, ending with Hughes shooting Dean approximately 6 times. A neighbor says he saw Hughes over the victim after the shooting, saying, "Why did you make me do that?" Fox 55's Brianna Dahlquist spoke with the man's neighbors, who say they're not surprised something like that happened.
It wasn't surprising if there was a party that was going on.
Hughes is currently charged with aggravated battery and 3 counts of domestic battery. A former Fort Wayne police officer was sentenced to more than 1.5 years on probation for admitting to strangling his wife. Boyce Ballinger was arrested in October for domestic battery and strangulation. Court documents showed Ballinger and his wife were arguing after a party on October 17th. He's sentenced to a strangulation charge and domestic battery charge concurrently. If Ballinger successfully completes probation, the strangulation charge will be dismissed. Right now, most of Northeast Indiana now currently under either a travel advisory or a winter warning as snow continues to fall in our area. The most we've seen this winter. Good evening, I'm Chris Malooly. Thanks for joining us. Tonight, we're going to have team coverage of the winter storm, how it's affecting us and millions across the U.S. Caleb Saylor is live in Fort Fort Wayne monitoring road conditions right there on your screen is also a look at INDOT's live camera. You can see the dangerous driving conditions many of us have been seeing, and meteorologist Beverly Perry here tracking the snow. She says there's more snow heading our way. Beverly, what can we expect moving into the overnight hours?
Well, much like what we've been dealing with over the course of the past few hours, we can expect that moderate to heavy snowfall will continue to lift to the north and east across northeast Indiana and northwest Ohio.
Visibility down about half a mile. Road crews, they're doing what they can. Really, with this system, this is what we expected. As the night goes on, roads are going to get worse. Obviously, with as much snow that we've seen, we've had some closings of not only schools but businesses throughout the area as well. I'll tell you what to expect coming up at 10:30. For now, reporting live in Fort Wayne, Caleb Saylor, Fox 55 News.
Thanks for that, Caleb. And almost all school districts will be closed tomorrow. That includes Fort Wayne Community Schools, DeKalb County Central, East Noble, and North Adams. Of course, check with your school if there are e-learning days for your child. But for a full list of school closing and delays, you can visit our website, WFFT.com. Click the weather tab for details. Also, just a little bit of a something we just found out. Wabash County, we want to add, is a travel warning right now. Road conditions, you heard them, we are not getting any better, and that'll be for the next few days. And Indiana State Police want you to know if you have to drive, you'll need to be extra careful. Fox 55's Drew Fry tells us what to expect for tomorrow and later into the week.
Because you don't want to be on the road and drunk. That's not the way to do. That's not the way to celebrate St. Patty's Day.
Tonight on Fox 55 News, an initiative to stop drunk driving. The group offering you money right now to find a safe ride home after a night of drinking. Plus, a Fort Wayne man dies following a high-speed chase on Interstate 69. How fast troopers say he was going right before the crash, and later.
We've never been able to spend that much on infrastructure in any given year.
The city of Fort Wayne plans to invest nearly $28 million in neighborhood improvements. What changes city leaders say you could expect in your area. Fox 55 News starts right now. Plan your ride, don't drink and drive. Good evening, I'm Chris Malooly. Thanks for joining us. Tonight, it's the message from the Indiana Criminal Institute. The group is beginning its Sober Ride Indiana pilot program. The program will provide $15 ride credits to the first 10,000 total rides through Uber and Lyft. Fox 55's Nico Panisi's live in downtown Fort Wayne, where many are out celebrating St. Patrick's Day tonight. Nico, what did police say about the program? State leaders say they're working to meet President Joe Biden's directive to make all adults eligible to receive the coronavirus vaccine by May 1st. Now here's a breakdown of current vaccinations in Indiana by age. You can see right here 72% of those Hoosiers ages 80 and older have been vaccinated or scheduled an appointment. 75% of ages 70 to 79 are getting vaccinated. 63% between ages 60 and 65, 43% among those 50 to 59, and 23% of those between 45 and 49 scheduled for a vaccine. And in Governor Holcomb's weekly coronavirus update, Indiana health officials spoke on the importance of vaccinations. State Health Commissioner Dr. Christina Bach says it's important to remember younger age groups have been out of the house with their masks managing the virus, while many seniors have stayed home and missed a lot. Dr. Box says the only way for Indiana to move forward is to vaccinate everyone in hopes of making people feel more comfortable going out.
4 elderly people come together. It was 2 couples, and they were celebrating basically Easter, Thanksgiving, Christmas, birthdays, you know, every single holiday that they had missed celebrating together. And it really just brings tears to your eyes to know that people can go back now and do those things that you want to do.
You can hear right there, Dr. Box pretty choked up about that. She says it's important for people to wear masks until more Hoosiers, especially, can get vaccinated. And to find a vaccination site near you, look at more Indiana and Ohio COVID numbers and find out if you're eligible for a vaccine. This is all on our website, WFFT.com. That information is at the top of our webpage. An FDA vaccine advisory panel voting today to recommend a third COVID-19 vaccine for emergency use authorization. Johnson & Johnson's clinical trial research shows the vaccine is about 66% effective, and if approved, this would be the first single-shot vaccine. The other plus, it can be stored in a regular refrigerator. The FDA is expected to give its final approval soon. This week, Indiana is expecting 247,000 doses of Pfizer and Moderna vaccines. The shipment includes both first and second doses. Next week, the state expects to receive 267,000 more vaccines. Well, Indiana is no longer administering COVID-19 vaccines to people who live outside the state. Initially, Indiana offered the vaccine to people who lived in other states but worked in Indiana. That was to ensure all healthcare workers and first responders were vaccinated. Weaver says most, if not everyone who has done this has been vaccinated already. You will need to provide a proof of residency to get a vaccination. However, if you live out of state and started the vaccination progress, you'll be able to complete it.
Wednesday, March 31st, we'll plan to open up vaccine eligibility to all Hoosiers, 16 years and older. The current COVID restrictions will be extended as is through April 5th.
Big news coming out of Governor Holcomb's press conference tonight. Vaccines will soon be available to most Hoosiers starting in 2 weeks. Good evening, I'm Caleb Saylor. Thanks for joining us tonight. Chris Malooly has the night off. The governor also announcing a number of changes to come to the Hoosier state. On your screen is a list of important dates and information you need to know. The current health order will expire on March 31st. Holcomb will renew it for another 30 days. Vaccine eligibility will also open up on March 31st to Hoosiers 16 and older. An additional mass vaccination will open in April. COVID-19 restrictions will be extended through April 5th due to the amount of visitors currently in Indiana for the NCAA tournament. And on April 6th, the face covering mandate will become an advisory, but K through 12 schools will continue under the current mask requirements until the end of the school year. Holcomb says face coverings will remain mandatory in state buildings and COVID vaccination sites. Local governments and businesses can enforce their own mask requirements if they choose. As more people are able to get the COVID-19 vaccine, local universities feel confident that operations can return to normal come this fall. Fox 55's Nico Panisi spoke with local colleges about what's in store for students next semester. Nico, how are some of the people you talked to today feeling about this decision?
Indiana State Police cracking down on dangerous and impaired driving. This is part of their, quote, full court press approach ahead of the NCAA tournament in Indiana. This crackdown includes speeding, drunk driving, and tailgating, in addition to people disobeying the law by not wearing a seatbelt or using their phone while driving. Troopers will show zero tolerance for people driving aggressively over the speed limit or under the influence. The crackdown will last until March 21st. State police say they've seen an increase in dangerous driving during the pandemic. A Fort Wayne favorite is set to return March 5th. Hot dog and burger restaurant Bravas, which we all know and love, will open online ordering and curbside pickup starting next Friday. Bravas originally closed its doors in July due to business challenges brought on by the pandemic. The restaurant now operating out of their hot dog cart, so the menu is a bit limited. Online ordering will begin at 12 noon and curbside will be available in the evening. Tonight on Fox 55 News, chaos at the Capitol. Thousands of protesters storming the building force a shutdown and temporarily halt the counting of electoral votes. You're looking at live pictures right now of the Electoral College votes that are continuing to go on despite those interruptions. As we just a couple of minutes ago, a dark day in U.S. Capitol history, especially. These are the words of Vice President Mike Pence tonight after pro-Trump rioters stormed the Capitol during disrupting the peaceful transfer of power. Happening now, you can see there, senators returning to the Capitol after that hours of chaos, continuing that electoral count. Some senators, even including Kelly Loeffler of Georgia, now saying they're no longer objecting to counting those votes. Good evening, I'm Chris Malooly. Thanks for joining us tonight. Here's a look at the chaos as it unfolded today in Washington, D.C. Thousands of Trump supporters gathered outside the nation's capital claiming President Trump won the election, waving signs saying stop the steal, and some even carrying guns. The protests caused the Capitol to go on lockdown and forced senators into hiding before they could tally the Electoral College votes. That lockdown didn't stop crowds from pushing past police barricades and forcing their way into the building, breaking into windows and storming through through its doors. This went on for hours until the National Guard and law enforcement from both Maryland and Virginia were able to clear the Capitol up. Right now, the scene outside the Capitol is quieting down. This is after the city of Washington, D.C. has been under curfew since 6 p.m., eventually pushing some of those rioters out of the area. Authorities say the Capitol building has been secured. Whitney Wild gives us a recap of the violence at the Capitol today.
Our democracy is under unprecedented assault.
Now, many state and local representatives here in Indiana and in Ohio tweeting out responses to the scene they saw in Washington, D.C. This right here, just a handful of tweets we collected, many of which sounding both frustration and disappointments, all watching as the chaos continued on the Capitol grounds. One in particular, we're going to show you, Senator Todd Young tweeting, we have the right to peacefully protest, but what has occurred today goes against everything we stand for as a nation. This is not a peaceful protest. It's violence, and it must stop. Governor Eric Holcomb expressing his disappointment for the mob activity at the Capitol and condemning the violence he saw. He says in part, quote, it's both saddening and sickening to watch a mob devolve into thinking their rules would ever replace rule of law. Holcomb elaborated more on his position during his weekly coronavirus update, touching on the behavior of Americans and how we should conduct ourselves in a constructive way.
But we're going to get through it. But it's going to require folks to step up and show there's another way, and there's a productive way, and that we need to stick to those principles that made this country great and unique and exceptional in the first place.
And joining us now is Purdue Fort Wayne professor and political science chair Michael Wolff. Thanks for joining us, Mike.
I will be a president for all Americans, all Americans. And I promise you, I will fight as hard for those who did not support me as for those who did.
Joseph R. Biden, now the 46th president of the United States. Good evening, I'm Chris Malooly. Thanks for joining us tonight. A historical day in Washington, D.C., and a moment decades in the making. After serving many years in the Senate, then as vice president, Joe Biden has been sworn in as the president of the United States. Vice President Kamala Harris also making history as the first Black and Asian American woman to hold that position. All told, Biden signed 17 executive actions in the Oval Office, many of them reversing some of President Trump's signature policies. We're going to show you a few of them. It includes stopping construction of the southern border wall and reversing a travel ban on many Muslim countries. Biden also began the process of rejoining the Paris Climate Accord and putting the brakes on Trump's withdrawal from the World Health Organization. On the coronavirus side, Biden imposed a mask mandate on federal property. The new president also named a COVID response coordinator who will oversee the distribution of vaccines and medical supplies. The Biden administrations say those moves are only a start in his plan to undo some of Trump's policies and implement Biden's campaign promises. Vice President Kamala Harris also taking her first actions in the U.S. Senate. She swore in 3 new senators this afternoon, giving control of the chamber to Democrats. The new senators include Democrats Jon Ossoff and Reverend Raphael Warnock, who both won those hotly contested runoff races just a little while ago in Georgia, while former California Secretary of State Alex Padilla was appointed to fill Harris's former seat.